Well, good evening. Welcome to Grace for our midweek Advent reflections. This year is a little different from normal. Normally we'd be gathered here in the sanctuary, but this year I'm going to bring you in your own homes a little reflection on the season of Advent each week. We're going to be taking a look at some of the Advent and Christmas hymns that have meant so much to us over the years. I wonder, will you be able to figure out which hymn we're talking about before we sing it? I wanted to talk about John Montgomery. He was the only Moravian pastor in Scotland. Now, the Moravians, as you may or may not know, were the pre-Reformation Reformation. They're the Reformed church of a century before Luther, led by Jan Hus. Unlike Luther, Hus was burned at the stake. But the movement lived on and eventually became the Moravian Church. Now, John Montgomery was the Moravian pastor in Scotland, but he and his wife felt a call to ministry in Barbados. They left their 6-year-old son, James, in the custody of a Moravian settlement in Ireland, and John and his wife set out for Barbados. James would never see them again. Both John and his wife perished on that missionary trip. John eventually went to school. He did not do well in school, ended up dropping out. He eventually became a baker's assistant, did not do well as a baker, ended up leaving that. He spent most of his teenage years running around from place to place and generally getting into trouble. Eventually, he settled in Sheffield, England, and ended up getting a job with the Sheffield Register, the local newspaper there. Now, that paper was on the cutting edge of most political issues, and the owner ended up, being in trouble a few times with the government for some of the things that he would post. Eventually, when the owner decided he didn't want any more part of this, James took over the paper, renamed it the Sheffield Iris, and started publishing. Now, he would publish all kinds of stories. He didn't shy away from the political stuff either. He got himself in trouble a few times. But the other thing he didn't shy away from was reporting the gospel. He made it very clear where his heart was. Christmas Eve, 1816. James was thinking about the Christmas story, and he opened his Bible to Luke chapter 2, and he read, "And suddenly there was with the angel a multitude of the heavenly host, praising God and saying, 'Glory to God in the highest, and on earth peace among those with whom he is pleased.' When the angels went away from them into heaven, the shepherds said to one another, 'Let us go to Bethlehem and see this thing that has happened, which the Lord has made known to us.'" Inspired by this text, he wrote a poem and published it that very night in his newspaper, Christmas Eve, 1816. The poem took hold. The people loved it. And soon enough, it was set to music. And on Christmas 1821 was the first time we heard "Angels from the Realms of Glory." Let's sing it.